When I started the channel, Kehlani was one of those artists that I very much, if I had a list of, X amount of artists that I very much hoped would drop an album while I had the channel, that I could experience said album with all of you guys for the first time, Kehlani was very much on that list. I'm really excited to dive into this. I know that Kehlani very much lends herself to that R&B sound that you all know I love very much. Obviously I first heard of Kehlani when she appeared on Zayn's debut album, Mind of Mine, and she appeared on Wrong, and I'd never heard of her, and I hear Wrong and I'm just like, who is this? And thankfully she's dropped this album now and we can listen to it here together today. I also haven't heard It Was Good Until It Wasn't. She came out in 2020, before the channel even started. I know that album got a lot of acclaim. I know that a lot of people really love that album. But today we're here for Blue Water Road. I love the name of that album. I love the album cover. Something about the album cover very much gives me, like in the other album, It Was Good Until It Wasn't, and I don't want to theorize too much because I don't know anything about that album. But she's on the cover, she's looking over a brick wall. And then here in Blue Water Road, it's just there's something very freeing about this album cover. Her hair is blowing in the wind. It looks like she's on a beach here. The colors as well, like very, very light colors, light blue and white, and just the beachy, like open vibe, sort of healing type of energy cover. As always, the full uncut reaction to this album from me is on my Patreon. The link's down below in the description. Lots of other stuff on there as well if you want to check it out and support. Let's do it. All right, the first track is Little Story. I love that opening because it's exactly what I feel, that sort of wind blowing. I think there was even a bird that might have tweeted back there. It's exactly how I feel looking at the album cover. Yeah.
Wouldn't say I'm a lie, but I'm not always honest. I ain't come through, but that's why I ain't promise. You got a face that I couldn't lie to. Oh yeah. I want you to do it again. I want you to pick up the pen and write me into your story. You know I love a story, only when you're the author. Trying to meet you at the altar.
Yeah.
Working on being softer.
I love all these runs she's doing to open up this song here. I also really enjoy the specific storytelling, whereas this partner of hers is a storyteller. They're an author of some sort, whether they're a songwriter, a film writer, a script writer, television writer, whatever they do. Write books, they write, and she likes when they write those stories about the two of them, and she's like, I'm working on being a little softer, which I'm sure is a conversation they've had, which I'm sure her partner has written this down in some form at some point, and all that just makes sense because of the way she's singing and all these runs. Again, these runs.
Just tell me it belongs in the past, 'cause you got a face that I couldn't run from. Heartbreak targets in my shotgun, but you're not one. Ooh.
If she does this the whole album, we're gonna be in for a good time.
I want you to do it again. I want you to love me again and complete our little story.
Oh, Little Story. Oh my god, those runs. I'm mad that I didn't catch that the song is called Little Story. She sees through her, she's writing this little story. Wow. I love the way she outroed this song here. And then what a way to end the song. What a way to start to end the song. You end the song the way you started it, except you just add all this instrumentation, all these violins, and this feeling of somewhat euphoria. And I said she, when I referred to her partner here, because I did do a little bit of research about Kehlani, and I believe she's in a relationship with a woman. And honestly, it makes even more sense too, because women just do a better job, are not even just do a better job, they just are better at comprehending, understanding, empathizing, just understanding other people and their partners. So all these things that she's saying in the song about how her partner sees right through her, writes the story, leads to them at the altar. They kind of initiated a lot of them. If this story is what led to them sort of being at the altar that she's writing, I would imagine too that her partner kind of, I don't know if they're actually married or not, but like it seems like it's something that she's got on her mind, which says they're in a serious place, and which says that the partner sort of done a lot of the work, the groundwork to get them there, done just this great job at seeing through Kehlani and Kehlani realizing she needs to soften up a little bit, and just those and just runs. Like this is my first ever Kehlani song I've ever heard in my life. Aside from Wrong, I looked through her discography a little bit by song title, and none of them I'm almost certain I have not heard, like singles, whatever they might be. There was a collab with Cardi B in there somewhere. I definitely did not hear that. So this is my first ever Kehlani song, and I don't know if she does those runs like that in all her songs kind of constantly, by the way, but the way she uses them, and just how she sounds, and her cadence is absolutely immaculate, and we're going to be in for a really good time here. I already know. All right, Any Given Sunday featuring BLXST. I'm not sure who that is.
Miami Bay, make it rain on your stage any given Sunday. The baddest bitch that's in the mirror wants to love somebody, start to write.
Oh yeah.
Just talk for months, I buy her what she want, to splurge and spoil a lot of fun. I'm throwing a paper tantrum at the club.
Oh, a paper tantrum at the club. I get that. Yeah.
Rain on your stage any given Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Shit is presidential, got you stimulated. Till you are more than famous. Call me daddy in front of all your bitches in the lobby.
I don't know if this little sort of going in between rapping and singing now, I don't know if that's Kehlani or BLXST. It's so early in the track that I'm gonna assume it's still Kehlani. I didn't know she had that in her bag, and now, oh my god, that's I know we're only 2 tracks in, but she reminds me of Jhené Aiko. But like, I'm gonna let these songs ride out, and then maybe I'll get more into that later. I didn't know she had this.
Are you working, baby? Are you working tonight? 'Cause I got a brand new bag, oh yeah. I just touched down in Miami Bay.
But I'm deep in now. T-Pain song got me thinking. Just be careful.
Wait. Did he say what I think he said? Please say what.
T-Pain song got me thinking.
First of all, that is so layered, and I'm so glad that lines on this song. Number one, because T-Pain is a legend, and he doesn't get the respect he deserves, particularly from this new, I don't like Gen Z, Gen Millennial, like I don't know the difference between any of them, honestly. Like I just don't know. I'm so out of the loop on all of that. But whatever like younger audience you want, whatever you want to label them as, he does not get the respect he deserves, I think, from them. He's got it from music listeners of who like are deep rooted into music and have been listening for a long time. But he should be, when you talk about like all-time artists, you can't talk about all-time music without talking about T-Pain. So that's why I'd love to hear T-Pain reference on here like this. Also, there's a lot of autotune on this song. There's a ton of autotune being used all over this song by both artists. And T-Pain is one of the original artists that like basically made it cool, and it's like, and autotune's been around forever, like way before T-Pain, and it's been like way cool before that, but he made it cool on a global level musically, because his songs were just, everywhere. Buy You a Drink, like you don't not know T-Pain songs if you hear them, even if you're not familiar with him. You hear him, you're like, oh, I know that song. I love that like he's in the club here and he's thinking about this T-Pain song, which by the way, if you really listen to T-Pain songs, and even that Buy You a Drink song, this is a song about being in the club, and that's one of the all-time in the club songs. And there's a lot of T-Pain songs too that are lyrically layered, where they're actually about like some pretty real relationship type shit. So I just love the reference. I had to go on a little T-Pain rant there for that reference. Yeah, okay, respect to T-Pain.
But I just got one question for you.
Are you working, baby? Are you working tonight? 'Cause I got a brand new bag, oh yeah. I just touched down in Miami, babe.
This song is very much about just visiting a stripper, whether you're in a relationship or whether you just like them, or whether y'all just been talking like via Instagram or whatever, because it seems to be long distance. She's flying into Miami and visiting you on what I assume is your busiest night of the week, Saturday night, going into Sunday, and she's about to just blow a whole bag on you. She's gonna like throw everything she's got. So that's love, by the way, or whether that's like extreme, like I really like you. It's one or the other. I love that. And the feature too, BLXST, great feature. They just vibed so well. Okay, Shooter interlude track 2.
And I'm keeping all this part 2. And I'm keeping all this part 2.
Part 2? Did we get that on the last album?
Never feel super. Do you ever feel stupid? Do you call up for Cupid? Can I borrow your chains? Can I have your last name? Can I come over later? And can I overstay? Now welcome, downplay the helper. Don't say I ever borrowed your paper. Don't forget the favors I did for you.
Ooh, a storytelling.
Before you blew up, knew you before you grew up. I used to babysit you, dated your baby sister. I wanted babies with you. Your daughter's supposed to be mine. Shouldn't have wasted your time. Put a ring on your finger, 'cause you've been dating lames and all those famous names, playing those.
So yeah, I don't know anything about Kehlani's past. Obviously, I do know that she has a kid. It is something that I also am aware of, but aside whoever she could be talking about that she was there for before they blew up, and there's a lot of direct lines about somebody in this song, and the kind of a timeline too of like her seeing like the way they were moving, basically, like after she babysat them, essentially. She ended up like dating, what did she say, like their baby sister or something after when she was babysitting, something like that. But point is, like, she's been around for a while, and then she watched you from afar making moves and disagreed with a lot of the moves you were making, and now it's kind of like you're kind of in debt to her, but don't know who she could be talking about, but I love the specificity of it. It's not just an interlude for the sake of being an interlude. Like, she actually got as much as you can get off your chest in 2 minutes, and you had so much laid back instrumentation that really like makes the lyricism the star of that track, which I like. I love when an interlude is used as a storytelling maneuver as opposed to I also love when it's used as just a musical entity, like a part, like a breakup in the album, sort of to say like, oh, we're transitioning to this part of the album, and the storytelling is going in a different direction now, whatever it might be. But I also absolutely adore when it's used for a lyrical maneuver, which it was in that in this part here. Okay, Wish I Never, track 4. What a roll. Oh, old school. I heard some rapping in track 2.
And I don't show my cards, but I play it though. They put them in my bag like my bankroll. I ain't proud of it. I know I could've held it down for real.
Oh, my God.
I was in character for the animation. You ain't never stop simulation. Had to take it back to play in my favor. It's all love when I see you when your bitch smiling. Put the gas on it, but I kept the mileage. Seen the bullet coming, but I didn't dodge it quick enough. I wish I never did it.
Oh, and she still sounds so good too. This is, oh my God, this is, whoa. This is.
Usually got the game in the head like known to keep a piece on that style. You really came to show out. Before I knew it, I was turned down, burnt out, got one with me. Never meant what I said to you, baby.
It's a song about regret. Before I knew it, I was burnt out, looking back and realizing just how many of the wrong moves she made in this relationship here, and everything. She regrets all of it. And then I love, like, that burnt out line perfectly encapsulates everything she's been talking about too. So just a perfect lyric to add into your second verse there. I'm glad that she added it there as opposed to the first verse too, because it makes it all hit that much harder. I had to stop because I needed a second to breathe for this song, because it's nonstop with this. It's hard to have. First of all, her cadence is. She definitely rapped at some. There's no way she doesn't like dabble in rap of some sort, or like maybe used to. She might have a background with rapping. I just don't know her background at all. But she definitely dabbled or dabbles. I don't know. Because her cadence is like R&B singers. There's a small group of them that have a cadence like this that can quicken up the delivery of the lyrics and can ride a beat like this. And can still sound really great vocally, like as singers. And that's what she's doing. And I didn't know she had this in her bag. And this album, we're 4 tracks in, and I'm hoping it stays like this the rest of the 2/3.
I'm so over this, I wish I never.
Someone's gonna hit in the car, and then those harmonies right there.
Wish I never.
Oh, the transitions right into this next track. The old school vibes in that track as well. I don't know if I remember to mention that or not, but I want to get it in while I can now. The old school vibes while this song is just so refreshing. It's refreshing to hear a song like that in 2022. And executed where it sits and feels like it's also a song that was made in 2022 while also made in the 90s. Okay, this next track is Up at Night featuring Justin Bieber. This one was a single. I know this was a single. I was waiting for the album to hear this song, and I'm excited because the after hearing the feature BLXST, I see Sid on the next track. I'm really excited for that one. Jesse Reyes. All those collabs make perfect sense. Justin doesn't feel like it makes as much sense from what I'm hearing on the Kehlani album so far. But then again, Justin is a bit of a chameleon with what he's capable of. Not so much from a results perspective, but from what I know that he can do. He could actually very well end up fitting in on this album wonderfully. Just depends on what he's bringing to the studio that day. But this is on Kehlani's album, so I'm actually gonna fully trust that the right gear was brought that day. All right, Up at Night featuring Justin Bieber.
Could you blame it on fate? Could've let it just escape. Now at the end of our day, I run back thoughts of you.
That bass.
You keep me up at night.
Think about all of the ways you turn me on. And my bed gets lonely whenever you're gone. And baby, I'm a wreck without you. All I do is fantasize about you. You're the light of my life, yeah, I mean it. Girl, you got what I want, what I needed.
Oh, that you're the light of my life, yeah, I mean it. Girl, you got what I want, and I mean it or need it. That sort of dropped down vocally that he did there, that's the Justin that I crave when I listen to Justin.
All I do is fantasize about you. You're the light of my life, yeah, I mean it. Girl, you got what I want, what I needed. And even when the sun don't shine,
yeah, okay, Justin.
You feel like nobody cares, I'll be right there to remind you that
you keep me up at night, up at night.
You see,
up at night. Thoughts of you keep me up at. And what could I say? I knew that it would go this way. At the end of our days, I run back thoughts of you. Thoughts of you keep me up at night. Oh, up at night. Thoughts of you keep me up at night.
I just got crazy goosebumps, and I got them for a very, very specific reason. My absolute favorite female singer growing up was Brandy. And I think it took me to right this very second, especially off of that last track, Up at Night, for it to really hit me. The Kehlani sounds so much like Brandy to me, or she reminds me so much like Brandy to me. To me, Brandy, and if you've never listened to Brandy, open up your world musically. Go listen to anything off of Aphrodisiac. Listen to The Boy Is Mine. Listen to Long Distance, or right here off of Human. Even like her more recent releases. Listen to anything that Brandy has done, and you'll hear someone who to me has the perfect tone, just perfect tone. And I'm getting a lot of that from Kehlani, and they just sound similar as well. And it's kind of like, it's giving me serious goosebumps just because of how impactful Brandy was to me specifically growing up. And how Brandy was so instrumental on me. You know, Brandy and Usher, that they were, and Neo. Brandy, Usher, and Neo. But before Neo, Usher and Brandy were the ones who were particularly like instrumental in me just becoming avid R&B fan, and it being something that just like became a part of my heart and soul forever. Wow, that song really did it for me in that way. Just put it over the top to remind me of that. I'm glad Justin came and brought the energy to this album, that like the Kehlani energy, that Justin energy that Justin brings on particularly R&B heavy tracks of his that I really enjoy. I will say that song was missing like a uniqueness that the other songs have. Maybe it was more geared towards like an R&B radio sound. It's still a really good song. But like it was just missing something from that the other four first tracks gave me that made them very unique to me from a lot of different vantage points. But I still like the track though. Okay, Get Me Started featuring Sid, When Love's Around. You guys know. We got more of that beach, free, healing, sort of peaceful energy to start this track off. Those harmonies.
Splitting up, you thinking about giving up. There's a reversible. Pushing my button, you gon' get me started. Call me aggressive, I'm just being honest. Ain't gotta do too
much. I felt really disconnected from that song. No pun intended, actually. Considering there was a line in there, I believe from Sid, about feeling disconnected from this person who might be getting it better from someone else. Yeah, just don't like it. Didn't do much for me. Not like I mean, that's the thing though. Like Kehlani sounds so good. Sid sounds so good. Their voices are so. It reminds me of BLXST just as far as having a vocal on the album that just matches you really well. So like from a calming perspective, like I'll play that song and let it rock while like I'm doing something, and it'll just put me at ease, I suppose. But in any other situation, the song won't do much for me. Okay, Everything interlude, track 7. More of those violins. Oh, so now we have the musical piece interlude as opposed to the shooter interlude was like a lyrical piece interlude. I'm gonna let this one blend into More Than I Should, featuring Jessie Reyez, who I've gotten a lot of requests to listen to, and I know has an album coming up that I will be checking out. It's a very classic instrumental beat to start a R&B song off with.
If you knew how long it's been since I let somebody in, you give me attention that she can't seem to provide. Put in work to make me smile, say good morning and good night, and I like the way you treat your mama, cause it shows you how somebody will come and treat that woman I like.
Yeah.
The way your phone is open like a passcode, cause she cut off mouths. I had the type, but I I feel hella justified. If I climbed on top and we fucked the night away like two wrongs. And my boyfriend isn't loyal. His morals in the toilet. That boy is on a voyage. That boy is on a trip. You say it might be time for me to clear. But he can't seem to provide. When it works, it made me smile. Say good morning and good night, and I like
Oh, I like the delivery by Jessie right there, leading into that sort of pre-chorus, like the way she sort of altered her voice to have it be a little bit more playful. And this kind of is a playful song, despite talking about there's cheating going on all over the song. I think 4 people are cheating in this song, which makes it an interesting dynamic and also like a real dynamic in some instances. And I like how they're approaching it realistically too. It's like, is it really cheating if it's, all 4 of us? At this point, it's just like a train crash at that point. That's a straight love making song, and that had to be on this album, considering that it's an R&B album. And there's a couple, you could say that there's a couple other songs that are potentially love making songs, but a lot of the songs on this album, she's talking about some pretty specifically personal stuff. And then you have this song, Get Me Started Up All Night, where she's giving you more of like, hey, make love to this. I got you guys. This is still an R&B album at the end of the day. Like, we're still making R&B music. I like what Jessie provided too vocally. The next track is Alter, which was referenced in Little Story. So I'm curious.
9 cups of water, still water. Soon I'll see your face. You were far away. I should've known better if I said a flame and I call your name. I'll fix you a place on the altar. Stay just a little bit longer. Laid it out for you. Thought I felt you before, but now you're closer.
Keep building.
You on the altar, stay just a little bit longer. Laid it out for you, thought I felt you before, but now you're closer. Oh, laid it out for you, thought I felt you before, but now you're closer.
Keep giving me that chorus over and over again. That's when you know you got a chorus. I want it again. Right here, I want it again. But I get it, though. I get it. We just got like 3 straight times, so I get it. But I want it again. Maintaining this light and airy feeling that is she's very specifically using that sort of beachside sound to close out a lot of these tracks now. I think like 4 of these tracks have that sound in it. And Blue Water Road, it's obviously done with intent. I think I would imagine it's placed on a lot of these tracks to give us her state of mind. And the instrumentation is very light and airy as well throughout a lot of this album as well, which gives me that same, like, I almost, when every song ends, expect to hear that oceanside breeze sound because of that light, airy feeling throughout the instrumentation, and as well as the way she's singing as well. That song had one of the better choruses on the whole album, by the way. Okay, Melt, track 10.
I can't tell where your hair ends and mine begins.
Ooh.
If I have all these tattoos, I would think that it's your skin.
Oh, pulling me in.
If I move too quick past you, I would think it's my reflection.
Oh, we're one.
As close isn't close enough. You could tell every time we touch, every time we wish you could build me a cute apartment, 1 bedroom right where your heart is. Into space feels broken hearted. Across the bed feels way too foreign. It's when I melt into you.
Oh yeah. Oh, keep that vocal going. She did it again.
It's when I melt
doesn't stop. Oh my gosh, if you took, and this is another perfect example of this light and air instrumentation throughout the whole album, but if you took, like, if I just heard this a cappella and you took all the instrumentation away, just everything and nothing but her voice, I think I might actually melt. Like, no pun intended, I guess. I would completely melt over just the way she ran her vocal out throughout that chorus, and then she stopped and then did it again when the next part of the chorus kicked in, and then again I think one more time into an even higher octave in the third time around. What a moment. Man, her voice is such a tool. It's such a tool, and I love that she utilizes it over and over again. I haven't heard anything on this album like this. Some of those scratchy guitar sounds.
Imagine your breath follow your chest up and down, hoping you let secrets spill out your mouth, and inhale, exhale, breathe me in. I wonder when they see just one, do they see us too?
Oh, she keeps this voice on the song. Her voice in the song.
Melt into you.
Fuck, man.
Melt into you.
Oh, she's showing off. She's showing off. One of the best songs on the album, certainly the best song on the second half of the album. Pretty easily, I'd say. This is quite a moment on the album. It's so good. It's such a good song. I love the whole, like, where do you begin? Where do you end? Where do I begin? Or where do you begin? Where do I end? Whatever she was saying. That whole concept of we're melting into each other, and just her maintaining that consistency throughout the song. We would open it up, like, talking about, like, I don't know where your hair ends and mine begins, and, like, the tattoos and the skin, and just wanting to be in this one apartment and melting into each other. And the way her voice kind of melted throughout that chorus constantly, I felt like she didn't stop singing from the start of the song to the end of the song, and I'm okay. It worked so well, because oh my god, this woman's voice is so special. It makes me melt. I mean, it's the perfect word. It's the perfect word for what her voice did to me on that song. All right, Tangerine, track 11.
I can taste it on your lips. Spending time painting the walls on the floor to the ceiling. Lotus flower become the garden I'm feeding.
Oh.
You, I'd wanna savor it all. Sweet tangerine, honey, vanilla bean.
Vanilla bean.
So sweet. You can get it in the morning. Yeah, when you want it, yeah. But now you made your case, find your home, fruitful seeds, mighty grown, pollinate my love with yours.
Oh, that's nice lyrics right there. Used to be able to pollinate my love with you.
Keep you warm. My sugar cane dangerous, nectar on my face again. Oh,
some really nice lyrics.
I like it 'cause it's very tangerine.
I mean, that's because we melted together. Oh, that's kind of a callback. Because we melted together, I can taste me on you. And I mean, the whole song is just like straight up about sex too. But I like the Garden of Eden, Tangerine, Vanilla Bean, the nectar, the bee, the pollinate, Everything. I'm gonna let this go. It's going into everything, track 12. I love track 11, by the way. Another bright spot in the second half of the album. A lot of these songs blend into each other.
But your love's too original. You were anything but conventional. Baby, did you know that from the moment we fell in and knew we couldn't fall back, knew I'd always crawl back.
Yeah.
'Cause baby, it's the everything for me.
It's the everything. Ah. Okay, Kehlani.
For me. Baby, it's the everything for me.
Yeah.
For me. Oh, for me. 'Cause baby, it's the everything. No trying. You'll be shining. My silver lining.
So shout out to Kehlani for taking a pretty popular pop culture, I guess if you want to call it that, but like current reference when as far as saying like it's the blank for me, just everyone I feel like you see all the time now, like on social media and wherever you might see it, or even like in conversation depending on who you're talking to. I'll refer back to my comment earlier about not knowing the difference between Gen Z, millennial, etc. But for her to use that in a song and not make it like corny. Because if you told me that someone used that in a song and I didn't hear the song, my first thought would be like, it sounds like it might sound corny. But it doesn't, and that's because it's within the structure of this album, which has been very cohesive in its sound, very light once again, and she sings the way she does, and she just convinces you with her vocals, and it's within this like very classic R&B structure sound. So it just works really well, and it's another one of my favorite tracks on the album so far.
Love the way you teach me, and how many bitches the became your missus can maintain a status. That was before me, it's childish. You done what you wanted, now you can be wild with me, run that mile with me, catch some flights out with me. Oh, I met your energy, match your flat perfectly. Lips talk intensively, want you extensively.
Go ahead, Kehlani.
Know you was made for me, think you was made with me, shit feel like destiny. Cause baby, it's the everything for me.
I love the way she writes is so smart, because she will say so much in a verse, and then her like the lyrics in her choruses can be somewhat simple, but because she details her verses so much, like what she's saying in that chorus really encompasses everything that she had just said in that verse. So it doesn't need to be like over the top detailed in the choruses. Like you just summed it all up in the verses. So it's perfect. It's really smart. And then when she gets to that chorus, it hits you that much harder, because you're like, oh my God, you were just saying all this stuff about why it's everything for you, why you were like meant for each other, why everything is added up to this moment for the two of you, and your past has kind of led you to this place, and literally like you're so attentive, and a lot of this stuff again she was saying in a little story, by the way, about this particular person. It's just so well written, and I'm so impressed.
For me, this is such a different thing for me.
Different thing. Oh, nice.
For me.
Nice switch up. Again, I love that keeps coming back in, and I kind of forget about it, and then it comes back, and I'm like, yeah, makes sense. I'm glad, like, that's that oceanside breeze. The fact that you put it here makes perfect sense. So this album started off like incredibly as strong as you can start an album off for me, and then it like for a brief moment in the very middle of the album felt like it lost a little bit of steam, but then it picked right back up with like running like right back up where I felt like in the first part of the album, where I was like, this is perfect. And because of that, I feel like when I revisit this album, those couple tracks in the middle, I might grow on me more, might hit me different on second, third, fourth, fifth listen, just because the front and back half is so strong. And even though I almost don't even fully remember what I got from those middle tracks, I just know I felt a little disconnected. I think that what I do remember is that there's a cohesion with everything, and I feel like they might hit me harder because of that cohesion, because everything is mixing very well, and even like lyrically everything makes a lot of sense even from those middle tracks combined with like the rest of the album. And this is just for me personally. Again, I'm actually really excited to listen to this album again just based on that, because I do feel like there's going to be a different feeling when I go back to them, because of how good everything else has been so far. Okay, last track. This is Wandering featuring Thundercat and Ombre. Not familiar with those artists.
I had to learn to trust and fall, receive it all, surrender.
Yeah.
The push and pull, to break the wall, rebuild it all for me.
Yeah, lyrics.
And
I like the I was wondering how she was going to use Wondering and Wandering together, but we're talking about a song about having, because of everything you've been through, having to learn to trust again, or just trust, period. Perhaps you didn't even before, and perhaps it's like magnified and even worse now. It sounds like it might be. A lot of that directly leads to wondering and wandering through the journey of trying to build that trust. So I really love how she used that.
It left me wondering, wondering, wondering. Found me wondering, wondering, wondering.
There's like a lower harmony on there.
Left me wondering, wondering, wondering.
I'm not sure if that's one of the features. I love the violins in this album. Very, very healing feeling. Blue Water. Okay. Don't know if this is a song for her. I don't know if she has a son or a daughter. I'm not sure, but I know she has a child. That's clearly her child at the end there, saying Blue Water, which is just perfect way. And then you give us that sound, that ocean breeze sound again, and perfect way to close this album out. I mean, I'm always going to be a sucker for featuring your kid in an album when obviously like nothing's going to mean more to you than that, particularly like as a mother. Okay, this is such a great album, and like I said, there's a few tracks in the opening that are so strong, and then I feel like she closed it off with a few tracks at the end that were so strong, and that ultimately makes this album incredibly cohesive with just strong tracks up and down, and it makes me really excited to listen to it again. Actually, this is as excited as I'll get to re-listen to an album multiple times over because of how strong the front half and back half was. Everything's super cohesive. Kehlani's cadence, by the way, I can't wait to check out Kehlani's other projects. I very much will. It was good until it wasn't. It's something I absolutely am going to check out ASAP, just because of how good I thought this album was. And again, it just had this like healing energy. I mean, you even look at the title of It Was Good Until It Wasn't. It kind of lets you feel like you're gonna deal with a lot of heartbreak and pain on that album. In this album, we got a lot of healing. We got a lot of a lot of violins, and a lot of times violins are used for sadness or used to like create this grand feeling. In this album, I feel like it was used for like in a healing aspect. There's a relationship going on throughout the course of this album that is very they understand each other very well. This person understands her very well. Kehlani wants to give as much as she can to this person. They have great sex and all you can do is be happy for Kehlani after listening to a lot of these tracks, and I can't wait to listen to those older albums again to understand the journey more of what led us here in this moment to this, again, wonderful album cover, by the way. My favorite tracks on the album, Little Story, Any Given Sunday, which I think is the best feature on the album. Wish I Never, which probably is the best song on the album to me, first listen anyway. Up at Night, Melts, Tangerine, Everything. I feel like Melts has a pretty good case for the other best song on the album. Again, I definitely need to give this album another listen because there's definitely a lot of this album that is going to hit me more on like second and third listens, just as far as the other tracks are concerned. But the tracks that I loved in this album I very much loved. What a strong start. I mean, Little Story, Any Given Sunday, I don't count the interlude, even though I love the interlude, but like as far as full tracks go, like Little Story, Any Given Sunday, Wish I Never, Up at Night, like what a way to start off an album, and then what a way to close off an album. Again, can't wait to get back into this album. Can't wait to get into more Kehlani. Such an impressive artist based off this one listen, and I'm a big fan already.